But I do want to spend a couple of moments, if I may, on technology, simply because it's about this middle-class people and their ability to access this technology and change. And it's not about technology, it's about the cultural and social change that it brings about, as we know through things like the Arab Spring have brought that into stark relief. It's about behavioral change that's brought about through these things. Of course, it's going to be about mobile, the deepening of the internet, the growth of big data, about avatars and robots and technologies like this, because they are available now, and we will start using them now. And if you're not, other people will, and we'll get used to it and we'll want to have it. So that's what's happening now. So we're not really doing much of a job as a futurist, except to say that if people can get in touch with your product directly, they will, they don't want you. So if you're in the middle of anything, unless you have a very clear proposition as to why people want to deal with you, you are finished. It's that simple. If you intermediate, unless you have a very clear value proposition, your role is unrequired and people will work around you because they want the cost advantage and the control of accessing themselves. And very few industries are safe from this. So, the United Nations decreed on the 3rd of June that access to the internet was a human right and that cutting people off from the internet was a human rights violation. Did you know that? We have entered a whole new era where it's simply a right to have access. Think about O3B. Do you know about O3B project? O3B, Google funded or part funded, lighting up 18 satellites, 16 are already lit up, targeting the developing world, where we're going to now go from 1.9 billion people with access to the internet to 5 in 3 years. They are there not just to buy, they will be selling online. Your competition and share of voice on the internet is about to be watered down by a factor of 150. As 3 billion new people get online and see it as a major opportunity to change their lives. Mobile connectivity is going through the roof in terms of the volume of data. It's going to change completely what we know about the world and products and services and backgrounds of companies and people, and most of it's driven by individuals. The Arcash tablet's being launched in February, as you probably know. To students in India, it'll be $35. It's 800 megahertz processor, 1 gigabyte of onboard memory, an Android operating system on a 7-inch tablet. When everybody has one of these, it'll be $70 for the non-subsidized version. We will use these like paper. We will leave them on the beach and go for a swim because everything's in the cloud. We don't care if we lose it. We'll just go and get another one. In fact, we'll have 3 spare ones in the hotel. Everybody on planet Earth will have probably at least 2 of these types of devices. We have seen nothing yet in terms of the mobile revolution, nothing yet in terms of access and what's going to happen on the internet. Zuckerberg's talking about hollowing out the news, the video, the TV industries by simply creating a walled garden where he's got his own currencies and he's going to have 1 billion people interacting in that space, avoiding the need to go into the big wide world of the internet. A little bit like the Apple customers decided a walled, controlled, managed city is a more productive environment than wandering around the web trying to pick up some software for free. I will finish quickly. Internet and the real world is converging to the degree now that devices are around that allow us to impact our Facebook page simply by interacting in the real world. We will blend our online presence with our physical presence, and we will expect an advantage in the online world from being involved in the real world, and an advantage in the real world by being involved in the online world. Blended networks are going to be the thing of the future that will really drive brands, because we will get advantage both ways round in the world. Connected devices will make sense of all this data and complexity by giving us windows on the world and what's happening. We won't need weather forecasters, we won't need traffic maps. Simply by lighting up these 22 billion devices in the next few years, we'll understand the world much better, as well as causing complexity. And finally, the way ahead, of course, is from us marketers, is to think about this. Look, where am I? In this case, we're at the Opera House. What am I doing? Integrate my diary. Where am I going? Where have I been? Who am I seeing? What's the context? And who's around me are going to be the most compelling changes of our mobile technology and mobile engagement as we move forward. And brands that are trusted will be allowed to take part in this, and untrusted brands and industries will be shut out. It's that simple. Because we will not want to have them know too much about us. So it leaves us only with this final thought, is today is hard enough, and we spend most of our time thinking about it, and the future is something nebulous and forward-looking, and means different things to different people. We've helped that by thinking about today, tomorrow, and the future. So tomorrow is your planned bit, maybe your 3-year, your 5-year plan, your next quarter's plan, depending on where you are. And simply we need to manage today, lead ourselves into tomorrow, and we need to envision what our future looks like. And that's the most important thing in a world of volatility, is getting to a point that Keith made about foresight, not insight. What is your view, your take on what's going to happen and where you're going? And we need managers, we need leaders, and we need entrepreneurs. And the final slide I want to leave you with basically is this. Look, right now we look at commercial and operational issues mostly in our businesses. You may not, you're from marketing, but most of the people, the volume of people in your business, including many of the executive, will think about the operational side and commercial implication of what you're doing in a business. We're in a period now where we need to stop just focusing on our capability and start thinking across here about our purpose. Keith mentioned purpose. What is our purpose, and how are we going to communicate that to our markets? What are the cultural and long-term issues in our business that will take us forward beyond this hectic period of change? And we need to focus much more on vision. We need that very clear vision to communicate to everybody what we're about, so people internally and externally can align with where we're going. So if that's true then, so I want to skip these. We need to give permission to our entrepreneurs inside our organizations, give them some attention and resources, find out who they are across the business, because they are the eyes and ears of most corporates. And what I would say is that if we honor those people, if we give them their head, if we give them connectivity, then we'll simply have the most attuned means of addressing the future, because they get your culture, they get your values, they get your vision, hopefully, if you've got one, and they'll be able to articulate that for you. So all I'll say after that is, quite frankly, move to the last slide, please, is that if you want to know how to find out what your entrepreneurs are, there's a elm.nextvisioning.com. It's free. It'll tell you who the entrepreneurs are, the leaders and people in your business who are more operationally minded, and then you can allow them to network. We need to know who they are, then bring them together, then we've empowered the organization. Thank you very much.